Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name's Freakor, but most people just call me a freak. Appreciate y'all stopping by to take a little look-see at my town, and I hope you guys are very critical of it, but I really hope you guys won't be disappointed. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you the town of Mistbury. This is a fully upgraded single altar village. There is 27-ish buildings and a church, all packed into this one singular little location here. This has been my sole base since the start of the beta. There's been a lot of renovations. But let's go check it out. Now, as you can see, unfortunately, I did not spawn next to the flame altar because that is actually a part of my ready room. So, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be doing a walk around of the exterior of my base. Because if you see right down there, you see how long that video is? Yeah, that's just the exterior of my base. I was going to do the interiors, but it would probably turn into a 2-hour video. So, enjoy the exterior. If you enjoy the exterior, then I'll post the interior. So, here we are, as if we're coming out of the ready room from the flame altar. And, as you step outside, you are greeted by this. I honestly am a huge fan of that design. It's one of my favorites, and we have a signpost directing you to the different districts in the town. So, let's go check out one of the different districts in this direction. Seems to be only two. Now, one thing that I wanted to make sure of is that wherever you were walking, you were always able to look at something. One thing I made sure to pay special attention to are the roads. All of them have constant different blocks, tons of items, just anything to make them not look just as generic as possible. And I think that it turned out really well. So here we are, we're coming up on the farm. To our left is the vegetable farm. To our right is the animal farm. And as we walk through our little storage barn here, we come out into our vegetable field. Vegetable farmer's house, a nice small field, exactly what he needs, not too much and not too little. Now inside of this little storage barn to the left, we actually have all of our processed animal products. And as we come out here onto the animal side, we have to our left, a barn. To our right, a chicken coop. That little barn to the left, fully stocked, has all the food, requirements, medicine, everything a growing yak needs. Now this place is a little bit more cozy than I would have preferred, but I needed that waterfall in a stream and I wasn't going to give it up. So, here we have our yak barn. And usually this is a nice view, but kind of getting flashbanged by the sun here.
Oh my gosh, such a beautiful design. I see it all.
A dog and cat house. To the left over the beautiful little stream is a goat house that is far less populated than it should be, even though there are enough goats. Oh, and I have been jumping over these, but those are actual functional gates. And now we move on from the farm. So you may be wondering to yourself, why is there so much stuff packed into such a small little area, a single altar space? Well, back when the beta was still putting out constant updates to the map, they had the top of Mistbury Catacombs as a valley. Completely barren bottom, surrounded by cliffs. It was perfect. So, I decided I was going to move in, obviously. Unfortunately, they ended up updating the top of it. They removed the valleys, but that didn't remove the valleys inside of my town. And unfortunately, that gave me very ugly 90-degree cliff faces surrounding my town. So I had a choice. Double down or give up. Now I get 20 FPS in my base. So, as we walked past the ready room, or the place that we started at, to our left, and we see stairs to our left as well, we're obviously going to end up taking a right. Right here, we see the blacksmith's shop. He has his forge, his shop, and there's also 2 apartments in there. This is the inn. This is one of the buildings that has been here since the very beginning. And it's also my biggest build. The inside has a lot. Here outside the inn, it has a nice little yard used for outdoor parties, drinking events, what have you. To our right, just past the inn, we have a quaint little coffee shop.
Sorry, there's no Wi-Fi.
And as we see just around this corner to the left, see another door to the blacksmith's house, as well as a door leading
Somewhere mysterious.
Here we have the alchemist's house and his workshop. The other thing I also tried to focus on a lot was no matter what direction you were turned, you could see something different. So if you walk down a path one direction and you walk down the path the opposite direction, it feels like you're walking down a completely different path. What I was going for was I was trying to make the vibe change even though you're on the same path. Now, speaking of paths, as you're walking down this one right here, you happen to see a bunch of broken fences. And you also happen to see quite a dilapidated little building there. That is the crypt/graveyard. I really enjoy the way that it actually ended up looking properly dilapidated instead of just messy. Because it's a weirdly common problem when trying to create a destroyed building. Okay, new district yet again. All of these houses up here are just for villagers, random NPCs that I like to have organically roaming around the town when they roam around the town correctly. Now, as you finish walking up these stairs, you're greeted by an oddly serene atmosphere of flowers and statues. And does this thing keep going up? Yes. But it's just the entrances of 3 more houses, so we're not going to waste time doing that because it's already 5 minutes, 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes in. Wow, bro.
If you're still here, I'm sorry. I wish I could be like,
Oh, don't worry, it's not much longer, but
there's still 2 more levels. We're like halfway done.
a really good example of why you should always make unique pathways instead of just using the generic one is seeing all the ice around there makes it look like puddles. Oh, wrong way. Awkward. Now, if you remember you saw that back door to the blacksmith's, well, on the other side, there just so happens to be a path leading to a tunnel leading to something special. Ta-da! So, not only am I terrible at designing little tropical oases, clearly, this puddle of water caused my base to flood an innumerous amount of times. But I'm glad it's done, and I think it looks good. And now we come to one of my newest builds. I got this design type from a post that I saw on the Enshrouded Discord. Someone made a house on a wagon. So I decided I wanted to do my own little take on it. But I didn't want to just have a single room with stuff in it. I wanted it to be a house. So now it's a fully functioning house that you can sleep in. Unfortunately, it doesn't roll. It's the only problem. Alright, let's get out of here, because that is the lower level finished. What we're going to do now is we are going to head over to the main staircase, the one that leads up to the marketplace. Oh, and I forgot to mention, that little thing on my right is a fully functioning light post. There is actually 3 different variants of light posts that I made, depending on the district that you're in. And the way I made those is I took advantage of the voxels that stick out of some blocks, and I put a luminescent block in between those voxels that stick out. Alright, let's say we head up to the market now.
You like the stairs? I like the stairs. Make good brain tickle.
So, as we're walking up the stairs, we're obviously going to take a look behind us.
And you may bask in the glory of my bridge.
But no matter which way you end up turning, got a nice view. Anyway, here we are in our lovely little marketplace. So here with all of the different vendors, I was trying to make sure that each vendor had a completely different stand. Some do have a little bit similar designs, But the one thing that I made sure to do was to make sure that they were selling all completely different products. So one vendor wouldn't be selling fruit and vegetables, they would just be limited to fruit or vegetables. Speaking of fruit and vegetables, we have a restaurant. And another thing I also tried to do to make my town feel more alive is to create static instances, such as a broken down cart with a guard. The goal was to make my town feel as alive and immersive as possible. And speaking of immersive, we made sure to put a little fountain here. If it didn't flood all the time, that'd be great, but it looks good. Oh, and I apologize. I totally glazed over the two buildings that are to my left. That is the brewery as well as the brewer's house. And also another thing that you'll notice about the ground here, it actually does have repairs done to it. Similar to the paths down on the lower level, I wanted to make sure that it had a certain uniqueness to it. Okay, only two more districts left. We're almost done. Now, as we come down here to yet another level, we are greeted to multiple different buildings. Two of them are just regular villager houses, a shed. But this one right there with the green door, that is actually a mine elevator shaft. I did a good job on an elevator, man, I'll tell you that.
I made it look like that you could crank that boy all day. Tell those youngins what's what.
Now, to our right, we actually have a burned down building that's under reconstruction. But we'll have a better view of that later, so we'll head over here to the mine. I got really lucky with this mine because I happened to find a natural flint vein. And all I did was put some metal blocks there, put the K-tool on them, and now it looks like actual ore. Alright, let's head back up towards the marketplace and walk on over that bridge. Now, as you'll probably have noticed, there are a lot of trees, shrubs, and flowers placed all across my base. Now, while that does really make it feel a lot more enclosed and cozy... Oh, here's the burned down building with its construction yard, by the way. It has unfortunately caused an issue where I'm not able to fully appreciate the architectural design of each of my buildings. Now, as you can see, it's a beautiful view, but if I was hoping to see the outline of every single one of my buildings, it's just not possible. So by sacrificing a little bit of my view from far away, I was able to create a cozy ceiling feeling.
Ceiling feeling.
And now as we step off the bridge here, we come into the Gilded District. Ooh. And there is actually quite a noticeable difference. As you can tell by the ground, it's a lot more upkept and clean. Because this district is the one that has a church on it. And as we come past this tree right here, we're greeted by a nicely designed little house. This is the pastor's house. Alright. Now to our left, this is actually the staircase that leads down towards the animal farm. And unfortunately, I didn't realize these trees had grown this way when I planted them.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, I was not gonna chop them down and wait for their asses to grow just to re-record.
So this here is actually the very first church that I've ever designed and built. I've got a shrine out front, and to be honest, I enjoy this. It's a nice design.
I mean, hey, looks like a church to me.
And that's going to be the end of our tour, ladies and gentlemen. I had a blast making this. I may be finished with this build, I may not be. But the last time I said I was done with the build, I made a farm and two more houses. And you guys saw the farm, and one of the buildings is right back there next to them stone pillars. She ain't small.